Welcome to episode 1 of DMV Deal Talk. I'm Shane Lee, mortgage advisor and local Prince William County resident. I help first time homebuyers and move up families make smarter moves through strategy, not sales.
I'm Steve Vargas. I'm the Director of Growth and Agent Success with River City Elite Properties and Real Brokerage. Also an associate broker and a team leader of the Vargas team. We empower clients and agents to reach their goals.
And I'm Kevin Recinos, a part of the Vargas team, as well as River City Elite Properties. And I'm here to help out anybody who has any questions or any goals regarding real
All
estate.
right, all right. So Kevin's fully locked in, Steve's locked in. So today we're going to talk about the big question, okay? Should you wait or buy now in this market? And if you've been wondering, this is definitely the episode for you. So let's be honest. One of the biggest reasons buyers are holding back right now is interest rates, right? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I hear it all the time. So I'm just going to wait until rates come down. But here's the thing. Rates aren't guaranteed to drop anytime soon. So inflation is still sticky. The Fed's been playing it cautious. And every time the market thinks we're about to see relief, something shifts. So while rates might dip a little, we're never going to go back to the 3%. And even if we did, demand would spike so much. So with the competition. So right now, sellers are negotiating. You got room for credits. You could do things like 2-1 buy downs. You could get grants and really make the numbers work and make it affordable. And so at the end of the day, it's not just about interest rate, it's the cost of waiting, right? I've run buy now versus wait scenarios where waiting 6 months could cost the buyer as much as like 15,000 to 20,000 over the life of the loan. And that's real money. So yeah, rates matter, but having a smart strategy matters even more. So Steve, what have you been seeing on the real estate side as far as like what you're hearing on the ground about inventory, about rates and waiting and things like that?
So it's hearing a lot of, especially agents that deal with, especially first time home buyers. I think it's always the common theme. It's always going to be the rate is too high, the rate is too high. And I think that is valid to an extent. And let me explain. There is a difference between I've talked to a lender like Shane and I've tried to do the process of pre-approving and something we call price size location doesn't make sense versus just saying the rate is high. There's a difference, right? You miss every shot you don't take, right? And I think that's the biggest thing is people have to understand that the national average of equity that's growing, year over year, it's probably 3 to 5% if you take on an average. In our area, we're talking there's places that are like 12%. Okay, market kind of stagnates a little. We're talking 6, 7%. I don't know about you guys, but there's not a lot of professions that you're going to get a 7-year percent raise every year. So what happens? That affordability becomes more of a challenge the longer you wait. And because once those rates do drop and the affordability is even more there, then the next challenge is, well, how can I win in a competitive offer situation? Right. And there's always a true saying that, doing this for many years is don't wait to buy real estate and wait, because affordability is always going to be the biggest challenge. The sooner you put your foot in the door, the better the options you have.
Yeah, amen to that. What are you hearing right now, Kevin, from some of the people like in the Gen Z? I guess you're in a much younger generation than
Yeah.
us, and so give us some of the feedback you're getting.
I totally agree with Steve. Something that I commonly hear is that, yeah, the rates are they're really high right now, right? But what you have to think about really is you have to, marry the home, but date the rate. Because let's say you buy a house right now, and right now with a lot of political things, you never know if that rate could go up or down. We just saw it recently. It went down, then it went up. Like I said, the name of the game is the house, and like Steve said, wait, and then you could refinance in six
Yeah.
months. And another thing to think about is, especially if rates were to get to that 2%, the prices of homes are gonna go up like crazy because then everybody's gonna want to buy, and supply and demand.
Oh yeah, no, we remember those days, especially during COVID when the rates were 2 to 3%, and yeah, sure, everyone can afford, but not everyone can compete, and where we're seeing people waiving appraisal, contingencies, and paying 50, 70,000 over asking. That is a big challenge, and yeah,
Yeah.
No, I agree. And it was also very challenging for, people trying to get that one house that they wanted because there's like what, 10 offers in that one property. So right now it's a lot easier if you think about it in terms of that. So it's always going to be a challenge one way or another. So don't wait because if you look at the prices of properties historically, you always see that it goes up, right? Regardless of what's happening. And another thing to think about is if you might pay like a little bit high on the interest rate right now, but if you're renting, you're technically paying 100% interest rate, right? Because
Yep.
none of that is coming back to you. So that's
Yeah.
something to think about.
well, and I think, and Shane, I mean, generally speaking, what's the soonest someone can refinance after purchasing on
So the
average?
soonest we would be is within 6 months. So not 6 months time wise, but 6 payments. So that's
Payments,
usually
8 months
yeah.
or so, right? And in our area, and most high cost areas, that rate, yes, would have dropped, let's say in that 8 months to a year, but how much value would have gone up since
Yeah.
that time? And that's the importance of putting your foot in the door sooner than later.
So to kind of like piggyback on everything what you guys are saying, just so that people that are listening or watching can kind of see it visually too, I prepared a TCA presentation for us. All right. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
So here we have side by side comparison. In the first column here, we have if you buy now, 5% down at an interest rate of 6.875, your monthly payment would be approximately 44,841, and your cash to close is 50,424. Now, let's say if we waited until rates drop, the rates may have gotten much better, may have dropped like 1%, but as you know, like what Kevin and Steve were saying, that's going to create competition and the home values are going to increase. So in this example here in column two, what if the home value went up by 10%? It's very realistic in our area. It's definitely like we've seen that, right? And so yes, your monthly payment is going to be very similar, but your upfront costs, the money out of pocket, is going to be a little bit higher. Versus in column three, if you had bought at the time when the rates were a little bit higher, already by now you would have been able to refinance that loan and your payment would have already dropped. And you would have already gained $65,000 in equity from just acting sooner. So that's a kind of a good visual, and hopefully that will clear things up for a lot of, but if there's any
No,
questions, of course, please drop us a comment or and we can
well, where can you? And I was going to say that that's the biggest part that people are missing. Sadly, because obviously no one's educating them as well as they should be educated, right? Is that equity time, the difference between when those rates have dropped? There's a lot of equity that can be had in our market. And that's the biggest difference. That 12. Let's say it does take a year for the rates to steady at a lower, that is possibly 10 to 12% of equity that you already earned by reaching your goal and enjoying what you enjoy with your family in that house, right? That's the biggest thing. And I'm glad you pointed that out, Shane, is that equity difference as well.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It sounds so cliche, but we hear it a lot, but it's very true. You got to date the rate and marry the house, because the rate can
Yeah.
always be adjusted, and we're hopefully
Yeah.
we're in a declining rate environment, right? Nobody can tell the future of that, but regardless, if you have the right strategy, it doesn't matter what kind of interest rate environment we're in, as long as you got the right team and the right people to show you the path. there's ways out there that this can be done, and you could achieve that the reality of owning a home and building wealth through real estate.
1,000%.
100% agree.
So
Yeah. And I had a listing appointment recently, and the seller has had this property for less than 2 years. And after the closing cost, he's already looking at a $35,000 increase in equity. It's something to think about, especially in this area in the DMV with large corporations, the government, and the military. There's so much real estate activity that you're bound to see gains in equity.
That's after the seller's
That's
closing
after
costs.
that's
That's
like what's
crazy.
on the net sheet.
That's
And
awesome.
just think about what he just said there, $35,000, that's almost like somebody's 1 year salary, and they just
One year
sat there
salary.
and made the right
Yeah.
move, and they're up ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Enjoy their house.
some powerful stuff there. And I mean, I grew up in the Northern Virginia area, and if you're at all local here, I mean, we're like this is like a real estate gold mine. Like it seems to be immune
Mhm.
to, like, we're kind of in a bubble.
Mhm.
There's a lot of jobs here and a lot of government and things like that. So yeah, definitely you can be in a very good
Yeah.
position. You just get
yeah.
one piece of real estate in this area and you sit on it and it'll just grow.
Well, and that the other thing too is there's a lot because what do they say? It's most of the country people stay in their homes because equity grows a little bit slower than our area. What 7 to 10 years? There's people. This gentleman, this seller that Kevin has, it's 10% in a year and a half, and that's in a condo, which desirably speaking is not the highest in terms of demand compared to like a townhouse in the area. And it's one of those where, look, if you think about it as well, this is not what I want based on affordability, but at least I've made the effort. Am I willing to say instead of renting for 2 or 3 years and like Kevin said, 100% rental or 100% interest, am I willing to get something that makes sense and use that as a short term, what we call it a hold, right? Because you gain so much equity in this area, I have to kind of be in the mindset of I understand what the ultimate goal is, but what is that next step that's going to get us closer to that ultimate goal? And sometimes it's I rather buy something that it does make sense for our family rather than rent something that's the goal, but now I'm putting 100% interest in it.
Yeah, yeah, and don't forget the strategy too of the home that you buy now that's your primary home, that can become your first rental property,
Investment.
right?
Yep.
And then you could keep buying a primary home with 5% down. So
Love that.
you don't have to save and come up with a whole chunk of down payment next time because you just gained equity, right? You could take some of that
Yes.
equity out,
Yes.
right?
That's excellent.
5%, get a new
Yeah.
primary home. The home that you
Mhm.
just left from becomes your rental property. And you keep doing that every 2 years. And within like a 10-year short period of time, you're going to build a nice real portfolio for your
Portfolio.
family.
Yes. I love that. And that is the generational wealth right there. That's the retirement. Is that real estate? Because that's still a tangible asset that is still a necessity until we live on the planet of Mars or something. But until then, that's a
Yeah.
necessity.
100
Yeah.
years of history that
Yes, sir.
never once did it ever crash, right? It went down a little bit one
Exactly.
time. There was some
Exactly.
hiccups here and there, but it always goes up.
It just
Yeah.
keeps
Yeah.
going up.
Listen, guys, so we got like decades of experience here with the Vargas team, um, the River City Elite. Listen, we're here to educate, be informative, and that's the whole goal of this YouTube channel. If you want to look at whether waiting or buying, you're not sure if it makes sense for you, you just don't know the numbers, just give us a shout. Give me a shout. I'll build you a custom TCA, no pressure, it's free, just giving you some clarity for the next steps. Okay.
What you may have to elaborate what
Oh,
TCA
okay.
stands for some people.
So I'll build you
Sorry.
a custom TCA. And what a TCA is, a total cost analysis, right? It's that side by side chart that I just showed you. I can tailor fit it to your situation. There's absolutely no fee for this. It's completely free, no pressure, information to give you clarity.
Um,
We reach you.
no, what What Shane said was great. If you have any questions about the process or you don't understand the market right now, feel free to shoot me a DM. Feel free to shoot Shane a DM. Feel free to shoot Steve a DM. I mean, we're here to help. That's our duty and what we do as a service to help the community.
Where can people find you, Kevin?
You can find me on Instagram at C, or you can send me an email at Kevin at the Vargas Team
Okay, so we'll
LLC.com.
drop the links for Kevin's Instagram in the comment. I mean, in the description. So we'll just drop that in there. Steve, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is from the beginning of time with me in real estate until now into coaching, training agents. Anytime someone has a goal, it's about setting up the game plan. That's really the biggest value. Generally, what we see is even if they can't buy now or they can't sell now or something, the fact that they have a plan, right? No one executes a goal generally without having a plan. That's all it is let's help set up that game plan. That way it's a step-by-step process to reach those goals.
Awesome. All right, so that's gonna do it, guys, for this first episode of DMV Deal Talk. I mean, I think it went great. I think it was pretty epic. So look, if you're thinking about buying, selling, just keeping an eye on the market here in your local area. I mean, Prince William County, that's where we're focused on right now. Just make sure you subscribe and follow us. We've got a lot more local insights and a lot of real talk coming your way. So we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Shane.